All right, we're looking at the aftermath of FWST-8 in in Delve, bordering Aquarius. And this is a fight the day after a massive fight that happened yesterday. So this is live footage. I'm looking at some Munin fleets mixing it up. I think what's at stake here, as you can see by all these cans, is this area where all those bubbles are. That is where the fight took place yesterday. And so what happened in that last fight was some supers were disconnected. And it's supposed that they will be reconnecting today under some guard by PAPI there. And that is not acceptable to Imperium. So they're here to bubble this area up, to catch stragglers trying to log back in, to plant, as you can see, all these mobile depots to prevent, well, those are to block the ships that are coming back in after they've been DC'd. Prevents them from cloaking, prevents them from evasive maneuvers, essentially. And they have put down an Astra house. Let's see if I can find that. And in order to complicate anybody's return into this battlefield. There's the Astra house there. So after today, let's look at that. There'll be a structure here, and that structure will complicate things as people try to get back in. Pardon me, I was aiming at you. Right, you. So this is a goon swarm or Condi, as you can see, Astra house, and they're putting it down, and this will give them a base of operations. Also, it may bump any ships coming back in. So this is essentially a fight over the area where people were disconnected yesterday and stayed disconnected for the remainder of the fight. So the way that normally happens is a pilot will fight for 6 hours and get disconnected and say, oh, forget this, I'm going to go to sleep, or it's too late for me, or whatever, and they take off and they leave themselves disconnected. There might be 5 or 6 of those kinds of people in a sea of thousands of people involved in a fight. So when those 5 or 6 people try to come back, they will come back to where they were disconnected, which is this spot right here. The self-destructing that you're seeing are pods, and that is when a ship gets blown up. If you want to participate again, you gotta go get another ship. And so you can either warp off your escape pod, but sometimes you're stuck in one of these bubbles, doesn't let you warp. So you self-destruct instead, and then you go back to your home station, grab another ship, and come back. Welcome back to FWS. We're seeing another fight. Now, the reason this is important enough to stream is it's an interesting part of battles that you don't see, which is the aftermath and some of the strategy that goes into it. One of the most interesting sagas in EVE Online was the aftermath of UALX. That lasted like 4 or 5 days, where an entire Titan fleet decided to log off and stay logged off. And so it was like a 4 or 5 day, I don't know, call it a festival, sitting on top of where those things logged off. And it was really interesting to see the tactics that were used to get them free. They eventually did. That was Pandemic Legion and others that were able to somehow log their supers back in and get them out. Their Titans, actually. So this is similar, but not nearly the same as UALX. This just has a few people disconnected, trying to make their life more difficult, trying to catch stragglers trying to come back in. And normally in these fights, you see a ton of bubbles, which is what Goon Swarm is putting down, and that's to prevent anybody from getting away. When they log back in, they'll fly into this spot here, and they'll get stuck in those bubbles and get targeted. And you see, it looks like PAPI Munins. It's an Eagle Fleet Munins, and they're probably running around trying to untangle this place in order to let their guys log back in and get out safely. But again, the reason this is worthy of stream is because there's so many people here. This is over 2,000 people in system. I don't think they're all on this grid, but back out and have a look. Oh, that is backed out. Yeah, it looks like a rendezvous point up here. For who is this? For Horde. They're pinging in and out, so you can see. Oh, I see. They're moving from there to there. So let's go follow them and see where they're going. Yeah, this is a rendezvous point. They're free of bubbles here. They seem to be. So these are Munins over here from Horde. This is an Eagle Fleet from a mixture of, looks like Legacy, basically. This is more Munins from Horde. Jackdaw Fleet from Legacy. These are NCPL Munins, so you have some mixed fleets. Looks like about 5 fleets, which would account for maybe about 1,000 pilots, which makes sense. And then I'm sure the Imperium has the same. Look over here. This is Goon Swarm Harpies. Those are small frigates, do a lot of damage, or assault frigates. And down here you have Tengus and Ares and stuff like that. So interceptors and cruisers. Like a mixture. This is a rendezvous of Goon Swarm and their Jackdaws. There's the warp. Pretty good for tie-dye. We're at like we were. 10%. Let's see where they're going. I think they're going off grid. I think they might be exiting this. No, they're going towards a structure, so they're probably going to anchor up. See if I can get us there. That is out of range. So, yeah, there's no gate over there, so they're headed to this structure here. I think this fight may actually be over. The core absent Astra House being put down. It's looks like it's past its 15 minutes now, ticking down to its 24-hour cycle. So there may be a brawl over this thing in about 23 hours. What Goon Swarm probably will do is keep this place nice and bubbled. Or the Imperium will. Yeah, this is a new fight. This is not a keep star. It's not a third drop of a keep star. I think they probably need a rest. be my guess. Yes, this is live. It is, well, what time is it? I have it here on my, just so we're all on the same page here. This is 7 p.m. Sorry, 7:15. Well, actually 19:15 UTC on the Wednesday the 7th. So yes, this is live. Is it 22:13? Depends on where you're at. Yeah. I had that totally wrong, didn't I? It says here Iceland is 7:15, but I think UTC is not Iceland. I think they're different times. Oh, I have 1913 UTC on this client though. All right, don't confuse me, guys. I'm easy to confuse. Yeah, this is kind of like UALX. It's a lot smaller scale, a lot less at stake, but it's the same kind of aftermath where you basically camp the spot where people got disconnected and try to make sure that if anybody's trying to get free after leaving that fight early, they can't. Looks like the field is controlled by the Imperium at the moment. It was a bit of a brawl before. Again, 2,000 in systems, not insignificant. However, the PAPI forces have left the grid. I believe they went to either dock up or tether up. They went towards one of their structures. Let's see where these guys are headed. These guys are pinging. They're staying on grid. They're just assembling here. And these are the jackdaws. Looks like they're spreading out, but they're staying on grid to protect this grid. That's the Harpy fleet up there from Goon Swarm. Yeah, lots of those. Those are a little cheaper. And they might have warped off there. Let's have a look at what's going on. Sorry, I'm swinging you all over the place. I'm trying to get a good angle to let you see what's going on. In there is an Astra House by Goon Swarm, and it looks like it will be vulnerable in 23 hours, so it anchored. So that's probably why this engagement is pretty much over. I think they might have been fighting for that Astra House. I think word is there's at least one Nix that got disconnected and wants to log back in, but we don't really know. All right, I'll take questions about yesterday and today if you have them. I'm going to go ahead and read back, scroll back. I didn't realize people were watching yet. Usually takes a while. So I'll go back and look. Okay, what's the neutral version? Who won yesterday? That's a very good question. My best estimate, you can hold it against me later if you want, is that it was like a win for both sides, but mostly the Imperium walked away with the obvious win, but it was kind of a Pyrrhic or Pyrrhic victory. And that's a possibility depending on how much military stockpiles the Imperium has. And I say that because they won the victory, they won the objective, but they also lost 1.4 trillion doing it. And that is a huge amount of resources. If they have a bottomless pit of resources, that's not a problem. But there's no way for us to know that. So a 1.4 trillion is not anything to sneeze at. From their side, we heard that we paid the blood price is the quote that I got. That is a recognition that they paid a big deal for that Keepstar kill. On the other hand, they did get the Keepstar kill. They defended their territory successfully up to now, although there are 2 forts in here. So there are structures from PAPI in this system, but it's not a Keepstar, and that makes a difference. So when you ask who won the victory yesterday, I would have to say clearly the Imperium won the objective. They destroyed their target. It was difficult to do. It took a lot of discipline, a lot of coordination. It took a huge effort by many people. And congratulations to their FCs for doing that. So they won the actual battle. It cost them a lot to do it. Not sure in the grand scheme of things if that battle will be seen as a victory, or in time, if they start running low on stockpiles, it may be seen as a necessary but painful expense. So that's why it's a little complicated to say who won. But that's not to take anything away from the commitment and the coordination that Imperium had to come up with to destroy that thing. There were ship-to-ship combats, but ultimately there was a couple things going on yesterday. And that was that the Imperium needed to apply damage to the structure consistently for 14 hours, which is hard to do. And PAPI's objective, their only objective, was to prevent that from happening. And you can't shield the Keepstar as its anchor. You can't heal it. The only thing you can do is destroy the objects or the ships that are doing damage to your Keepstar. So they had two different goals. All Imperium was focused on was shooting the Keepstar and applying damage, and or making opportunities to do that. And all the PAPI forces were doing was to try to annihilate everything that was capable of doing DPS on the grid. It's a very tall order. I'll get to more questions in a second. I'm answering who won yesterday. So that's why it's a complex game. It's very interesting. There's a lot of things. Yesterday I gave, let's see, some combat, it looks like. Yes, the blues came and I didn't even see that. So let's go back to today's fight and we'll get there. It looks like they're re-engaging. You can see because all the damage notices started flying up there. So what do we have here, and who's shooting who? This is Horde's back. More Horde. Yeah, they're just landing now. See where they're applying damage. Check my graphics to make sure that I am looking at. Yeah, I have high graphics on, so I'm just zoomed out too far, I think. Gosh, a lot of people here. There's a fleet. They're probably got prop mods on. That's why you see their trails extend really long. They're following this guy here, probably. Let's see. That's a monitor, so that's probably an FC. Yep. They're not following him, though. There's another monitor in here, probably. I'll just get to a lead ship. They might be orbiting this monitor, actually. Yeah, you can see they're pulling a circle on this guy. That's why it's bending. So as he moves, they move. They're applying damage to this target here. I cannot see. That may actually be a bubble. They're trying to clear bubbles. There's not a ship there. So what they're doing is applying damage to this bubble, trying to take it down. Unless that's a ship, and I can't sync to it, but I think it's a bubble. At the center of each of these bubbles, I believe, is something that you can shoot at to destroy them. I'll use the CK8 as that's a better vista point. All right. There's another one. Yeah, it looks like they're trying to take down these bubbles. Thanks, Hecate. You can see he just shot at it. That's the point of where they're aiming right there. It's the center of that big bubble. So they're in a bubble clearing mode right now. I'll take out something so you can see a little better. Pardon me while I make some adjustments. Yeah, bubble clearing mode. That's what these fleets are doing. They're fast. They have pretty good wallop volley, so they can apply a lot of damage quickly. These things won't last long, each of these bubbles. And these guys have incredibly good maneuverability. These are Munins. They're special cruisers. So cruisers are fast and rather small. So they're good at countering battleships because they can control range, which a lot of EVE combat is. It's about controlling range and applying DPS and also staying nimble enough not to feel the full effect of a cannon that's been shot at you from a battleship. I'm not seeing any resistance yet from Imperium. They're around. It's hard to see with these red guys here, but right now it's all PAPI clearing bubbles. A minute ago, they had totally vacated the grid. Up here, we have more Munins. Not sure what their battle plan is, and I am zoomed out as far as I can be. Some TNT Brave guys up here. I don't know if they're mixing it up or not. Let's go see if there's a micro fight going on. A little bit out of my reach. You up to, little guy? I think you're about to warp out. Almost like a U-2 spy plane, way above the ground. Who is this? This is Rodney McKay from TNT. I think he's observing from a safe distance, or he's on his way out, or it looks like he's going in circles. Don't know where he's headed. All right, there's an engagement there. These Harpies moving out because Munins are coming in for them. You can see that. Blue landing on red, trying to catch as many as they can. I think they caught some. I don't see any. Let's see what's in there. Yeah, they bubbled them, so they caught a few. Not that many if you get up close, but maybe 8. People are trying to burn out of the bubble there, save themselves. But with fleets landing, and these are Munins. Oh, these are Eagles. Okay. Yeah, and Munins, these guys are going to have a hard time getting out of these bubbles before they are alpha'd. So they caught a portion of those Harpies, and that's what it is. Cat and mouse, try to grab the tail on the cat. The cat might get away, but you get some fur, that sort of thing. You can see them already moving from the ping spot where they moved before. This is an impressive show of force for PAPI. It looked like they had vacated the grid. They came back to duke it out a bit more. All right, so some of these guys are clearing bubble. Let's see if this guy gets out. Oh, yeah, looks like he did. I didn't see an explosion. I think he made it out of the bubble and warped away. Good for him. This guy's racing to the edge of the bubble. Let's see if he makes it. No, he disappeared. I can't tell you what actually happened to him. This guy is out. So that's it. There might be just one more down here. This is a Saber. I don't know if he's out of range. He might be out of range. Not even being shot at, so who knows? Maybe he's the AWACSing Saber. Because he is not being bothered, but he is. Oh yeah, he is. He's definitely being fired upon. Let's have a look at him. Let's see if he can make it out. Come on, little Saber. also disappeared. That's some funny business, right? There he goes. He's dead. That Saber was trying to get himself free, and he didn't make it. All right, let me catch up on text. I'll try to do both if I can.
Good morning, Matterall.
Good morning. Who's in here with me? I gotta look. Oh, Apollo, how you doing? Can you, Apollo? Can you hear me, Apollo?
I can hear you now. You were muted over here.
I was muted, wasn't I? Okay, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
Did you get some much needed sleep?
No, I had to go to work.
Oh, that's right.
I got like 3 hours last night.
Wow. All right, so what we're looking at now is you can see these fleets piled into the Harpy fleet. They caught a few of them. I don't know how many, maybe as many as a third. But look at how many people, they're like really like bees, right? There's so many there because they all warped to get into that fight and it was gone before they got there. Apollo, yesterday's fight, how do you feel about it a day afterwards?
Still pretty good.
Yeah.
Still loving that. I'm still loving that. That 1.5 trillion ISK loss for that Keepstar. I mean, I will trade that every day.
Was that a 1.5 or 1.4?
The one that I had 1.5.
God, really got up to 5.
Okay, so I think it
2.5
was
total. Yeah.
yeah, I think it was like 1.48, which is why it's 1.5.
Okay.
Like,
Do you know what's going on here? What the objectives are?
well, I can tell you what they think is going on.
Okay.
So basically, there was a lot of people that logged out in system right there last night, and before the Keepstar died, so people would log out in their supers and titans. So what's going on is they're anchoring an Astra house there, and they're bubbling the grid completely to try to hell camp the logged off pilots.
Right. Do we have an estimate on how many pilots were logged off?
I couldn't give you an estimate. There's too many different groups logged off, tunes there. So some logged back in and got out. Some already escaped this morning. So I can't imagine that it was too many.
Yeah. Now these fleets, they can't do anything about that Astra house. It's now invulnerable. They missed their opportunity to do that. They have to wait another 23 hours. But what you're seeing here, those look like Munins, right? Those are the.
Yep, those are Munins.
Yeah. Well, look at this Munins come crashing through.
Look at that beautiful flag cruiser right there.
A little bit of a swarming effect. Let me know if I'm moving around too much and getting you guys dizzy. These Munins, you can see they're shooting everything in sight. It looks like it's all those lasers flying in different directions. I think it's basically guns free on these bubbles, clear them out. I don't think they're all concentrating fire anymore on any one target. So you're seeing them all just shoot whatever's around them. They're trying to get this area unstuck. So, wow, that was fast. You see those bubbles disappear? Well, they just cleared out that whole area. So they're moving around, taking these interdictor bubbles out so they can bring in the people that were disconnected yesterday. We'll see if the Imperium wants to try to prevent those guys from coming in. Again, we're in 10% tie-dye. This is a huge showing, about 2,000 people in system for this aftermath. And some of you will remember comparison to UALX. This is nowhere near the scale of UALX. However, it's the same kind of tactic. It's to free the people that are locked out.
Yeah, honestly, the whole real life thing kind of sucks So having to log off in the middle of a battle, you
Yeah.
kind of, this is what you have to deal with when you try to log back in.
Yeah. You either get safe or you deal with this, or you stay the whole time. And normally, guys that can afford big, expensive ships have been playing a while and dedicated some time to it. They might be in a different place in their life to be able to stay on all night, you know. Yeah, real life sucks, confirmed, says Lothar. By the way, thanks for rewarding people with a bunch of subs. That was real nice of you to do. Oh, well, here we are. This is Aftermath. This is live footage, but this is also the spot of a big fight that happened yesterday between the Imperium and PAPI forces. Keepstar was destroyed by Imperium. They successfully destroyed and a foreign Keepstar that was being planted, and it's a massive fight. 6,500 people essentially, but the servers survived. The text you're looking at is from Talking in Station's Discord. It's an open and public Discord. I will go ahead and give you directions to it should you want to get in. I think we're about 3,800 people now. So it's a sizable one. Oh, I forgot I can just do this. And you got to spell it right, I think. Oh, I got it. Well, anyway, there's the Discord address above. Thanks, Lothar. You did it right. I did it wrong. I guess you need a capital. Dude, that fight yesterday was awesome, right? Apollo?
Yeah. I mean, Tie still sucks, but it was just the node stayed alive, and the fight actually had an ending, which was good.
Well, that was what's different, right? Like I was explaining during the stream that the reason BTAC are the Titans fighting each other, the reason that went 20 hours and this one only went 14 or 15 is because there were timers involved.
True, and also we had no way of extracting from BTAC as we were just covered in bubbles. So it was either fight till downtime, or I guess just surrender and lose a bunch of Titans.
Yeah, you couldn't log off. There was no safe log off at that time either. It was literally fight or die absent.
So yes, there was a few Titans that died in 8QT yesterday or last night. That was due to a spy that was fleet inviting everybody, and once people were undocking, of course he would fleet warp them away. It's the oldest trick in the book, and it amazes me that people still fall for this. So once they were warped off, they actually landed in bubbles that belonged to goons, and then goons dread bombed them. It's a very solid tactic, but it's the oldest trick in the book, and like I said, I still don't understand why people fall for it.
Well, it's complicated because there's so much going on. There's if you look away for a minute over a period of hours, you might get confused when you come back and join the wrong FC, or there's just different ways that you can fall into that trap that don't mean that you're not smart. It just means that you weren't paying attention at the critical time.
No.
You're not going to let that guy get off.
from the PAPI side, and I'm telling you right now, if you fall for that trick, you are not smart.
Probably not SRPable, right?
Negative.
Yeah, you pay the price. I was saying that's not something that you make a mistake like that, the Alliance isn't going to pay for it. You're going to pay for it. So that guy's got to pay for his own replacement.
So like the reason why like I view that so harshly is that when you are in, like, if you shouldn't be undocking unless you're in a fleet, if you're in a Titan, especially on an engagement. There's no reason for you to be undocking without being in a fleet. So what are you doing undocking without being in a fleet? It doesn't make sense. And if you're in the wrong fleet, then you clearly don't know how to read, because pings were going out yesterday like crazy with FC names in them. It's like Titans around this guy, Supers around this guy, Dreads and Carriers around this guy. If you joined the wrong fleet, that is your own stupidity. And then if you get fleet warped off and died, again, your own stupidity.
Right. So a question from chat here. Parv asks, why didn't PAPI drop a third Keepstar after the second one died? Is there any official reason? No official reason was given.
How do you know we didn't drop a third one?
We don't know. It's suspected there is no third one. There's no pinging about it. But I think from what I've read, from pings, is they're going to do it again, but I believe they're going to rest up. I'm sure they have it. I'm sure they could have dropped it. I think it was a tactical decision not to push it. This is an advance that's a little faster than was even expected. I think the next big fight you'll see, unless there's another attempt at this system, but the next big fight I expected to see was the destruction of the Keepstar in 49U, just to kind of clean that up. And that's just an easy victory, easy points. You can, in a week, you'll be able to jam out the Imperium. So they'll have to fight with subcaps. They can't even bring dreads in there unless they gate them. And that's just an easy kill, considering you have your supercap fleet there. You could do it with not that many people, too. So they might slow down and do that. Remember, there's a whole cadence to this. What FCs have to manage, or what campaign commanders have to manage, is the expectations and the commitment levels, the burnout levels of guys that have to stay in a fight for 15 hours. It's just not natural for them.
Ebo, I think that's a little off there, but I don't think any group makes enough to build a Keepstar a day.
Yeah, we talked with Keepstar builders yesterday, and it is hard to build a Keepstar. Wow, these bubbles are being cleared out. There was so many there, and now they're down to about 5. They are very hard. It's much easier to build more battleships, right? First of all, more people have access to the BPOs. Second of all, more people can have the skills to build those. And so there's less bottlenecks. You can spread all that work around to different people. And as long as you have the mineral resources, you should be able to do it. So it looks like PAPI controlling this grid pretty well. You see that incredible ball of fire shooting in every direction, just clearing bubble after bubble after bubble. That's impressive. These are only bubbles. They don't take much damage, but it's just neat to see that little ball just taking out all these spheres. Reminds me of Last Starfighter. Did you ever see that? Anyway, I'm going to keep it zoomed out so you can just see the quantity. But this is grid control by PAPI. I think Imperium did what they needed to do here, and that was to plant that Astra House, which was fought over about an hour ago. And that Astra House is not destroyed, so it will anchor. And then online tomorrow about the same time, you may see a fight over that, just like you saw a fight over the Keepstar that was going to online. But it won't be the same scale, probably. Depends on what people throw at it. Also, this Astra House may not be dealt with at all if you can extract the people that you were trying to get here. I think that's what it's
in
for.
Astra House, there's a great spot for like dictators to camp on and wait for like people to log in, but that's all that Astra House is going to do. It's not going to be there to actually do damage to anything. Sure, it'll be fit, probably anti-capital fit, but let's be fair, it's not going to do anything like of subsequent consequence.
It's essentially you're right, a tether point for dictators that are sitting around waiting to find things. And that's what they did in Fortac O, I believe. That was right there near G Magic. There was an Astra House sitting there just watching the travel lanes of Legacy, and they managed to catch a Super Carrier and a Titan and get those killed. So it's a viable tactic. Oh, we see somebody coming in. Oh no, they're leaving. They're jumping out. I wonder what's jumping out. That must be some faxes that are jumping out that were over here. All right, so all the bubbles are cleared out. Almost. There's a bit more. I think, yeah, you can see the Munins repositioned.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see mass logins now. There's a few more jumping out.
Oh, are those supers logging back in and jumping out?
That was whatever there was. They were capitals jumping out. I don't know if it was supers or not.
Yeah, I didn't see any faxes earlier. I just assumed, but what you're saying makes a lot of sense. Let's go back to try to get you a picture so we can visualize what's going on. Well,
You need me to log in my tomb there, Matterall?
You need to?
Said, do you need me to?
Oh, you want to? I'm not dead yet.
The launch pad, the Astra is a launch pad for a counteroffensive. I like that.
These mutants are going around just clearing out the last of these bubbles. They're almost done. Zipping around here. I bet these are interdictor. Oh, Aries and Crows. That's just an Aries. Aries, yeah. Those are interceptors, but they can only tackle one ship at a time.
So if you want to have a telling story, Matterall, you should go switch to a capital overview, see if there's any caps logging in.
You know what? You're brilliant. Let's see what goes on here.
Because if you're seeing caps logging in, landing on grid, that means they're probably logging in and jumping out.
Yeah. Well, the grid is clear. It's clear and controlled. Now, Imperium might be waiting for caps to log in for them to come back. Ooh, you can see stuff flying in. You see those flashes? Those are distant flashes of people logging back in, probably. Or it's somebody in warp. We assume it's...
Thank you, Star Trek, for making that animation.
Yeah, that's neat, though. After they clear the grid, you start seeing these little electrical flashes in deep space, and we'll have to see if those are... Oh, there we go. Apostle coming in, Naglfar coming in, Thanatos coming in.
Time to make the great escape, boys.
Yeah, now they would have initially landed where all those bubbles were, so this is why those Munin fleets cleared all that out and control the grid. Now these guys can move in safety. Who have more coming in? Archon. Thanatos. Let me put these in order. Yeah, so we got a lot of dreads and carriers coming back in. And this is the kind of stuff you would leave behind if you were needing to log off or got disconnected and didn't want to get back in.
Yeah, because these would all just be SRP'd if they died.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see as they're landing, they're jumping out.
Yeah. But these come back in fully capped, right? So they're able to jump right away.
They come back in with whatever capacitor they had when they logged off.
Okay.
So if they were at 10% capacitor, that's what they got now.
And this is why you have cap boosters as standard issue on these things. So coming back from a situation like this, if you needed to get capacitor, you could give it to yourself.
But chances are, with all the tie-dye and everything in there, they probably logged off at full capacitor.
Yeah.
Because remember, most of them had aggression, so they weren't able to log off for the 15 minutes after they've actually shut off their client. So they probably capped up in that whole time.
Yeah, plus I don't think they use capacitor as much as they used to. When they used to spider tank, they would use some, but...
Oh, God, don't.
I heard your dog.
Dude.
I heard your dog.
No,
laughing.
that was my dog. Jesus.
Sorry, I heard, was that a relative? I'm sorry. I heard.
No, it was my cell phone.
Oh, I heard something laughing. It sounded like. Oh, looks like they jumped out. So about 8 or 9, maybe 10 caps and dreads came in and jumped out. Let's see if we see any more. It was really neat to see them light up in the distance. That was really cool. Seeing some scram attempts. Back out a little bit more. Comes another Thanatos. Couple more.
Yeah, they're going to do this as long as we can hold the grid.
So PAPI making it safe, untangling the place, getting their guys out. I think the effort to prevent them from doing it is... I imagine the Imperium would have attacked now if they had the option. They probably have decided not to. We'll keep watching what they log in.
So what's very interesting to note as well, Matterall, is that a lot of PAPI alliances last night and today actually started forward staging out of 8QT instead of P's tag Z. So now they're within one jump of this system. They're in direct range. There's no more mitting anymore.
That's right. P tag Z to 8QT and then to FWST. That's what was happening yesterday. So you're all moving to 8QT, which puts you one jump. That means there's a commitment to this spot, right?
I don't know if it's this spot so much, but I mean, yeah, we do have a decent range from 8QT.
Yeah. 8QT is really like the consolation prize. I shouldn't say constellation. It's a consolation prize to 49U. They're right next door to each other. And 8QT actually borders Delve.
Yep.
MVN. So they can gate through MVN should they want to. I don't know if they will. Or they can jump into parts of Delve from 8QT already. So what's going on here? I'm being asked, and this is the recovery of people who are disconnected. PAPI's controlling the grid. Here come the Nixes. These are super carriers, so they probably wanted some Thanatos to get logged back in and then out of the way, and now they're bringing in the Nixes. So they're doing this in an organized way so they don't cause collisions or any variables that might cause problems.
Not only that, you got to test the waters too. You got to send the bait carriers in first to see if there's going to be some dreads that drop in.
Interesting. Yeah. So let's see what happens here. 4 Nixes came in. One's out. These 2, 3. Well, there's another one, and there they go. They have all
These brave souls
left the system. They're probably back at 8QT now, landing on the Keepstar there, tethering up, docking. Here comes a Hell and Nix. Yeah, we're in the super carriers now. This was the prize earlier. This is what Imperium wanted to catch and kill, or at least prevent from logging back in. That Astra house is going to anchor in about 22 hours. And once it does, you'll have Sabres that will be able to hang out tethered to it, just sitting there waiting in perfect safety for any of these kinds of ships. So it is a do or die for these ships to get back in right now.
I wonder what it's going to be like waiting for something that's never going to log in.
It's like fishing in an ice hole somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
It turns out there's no fish in the lake, so you spend a lot of time doing nothing.
Yeah,
Oh, who knows? If you're a smart pilot, you're in touch with your team and you're able to get out. If you can't get out because you had to work or something, that's a bigger problem. This will be harder after 24 hours.
Exactly, Jaden. You make an excellent point. Jaden said in the chat that you want to only bring in a few people at a time, so that if a dread bomb does happens, you're only losing a few people, not the entire fleet.
Oh, that's a great point. Who said that?
That was Grill Jaden.
Yeah, good for you. Good point.
Yeah, absolutely, Nova. If you want to go capital ratting and Oracle mining in Delve, absolutely. I have a mining pass, I can tell you.
All right, looks like it's going pretty smoothly for PAPI. Again, they're recovering ships that were disconnected yesterday. Earlier, there was Munin and Harpies fighting over this area. It was bubbled all to hell. An Astra House was put down. There might have been a small fight over that. But the Munins came back in, chased the Imperium off, and controlled the grid, cleared out all the bubbles, and now the carriers and super carriers are in the process of logging back in to jump out.
Look at that bait question there. Yeah, Bio. This is just Pappy pulling out the people that had to log off in the middle of the fight last night.
This is the spot where that Astra House is. That blue thing in the middle there is an Astra House. It's in the middle of anchoring, so it's ghostly blue. Eventually, that'll look like an Astra House. It was anchored and it's in invulnerability now. In about 22 hours, it'll actually be on lining if it's not interrupted. That was put down a couple hours ago. But that's the spot that the Keepstar was at. So a lot of people who disconnected yesterday that went away or went to sleep or whatever, they were disconnected until they log back in. So this is a safe way to bring them back and let them jump out. I think everybody that's an EVE player knows this. I'm explaining it for players that might be interested in a more basic explanation.
So, Bio, the reason why people would want to log out is because the battle was a long battle. It was like 10 to 12 hours. And people,
it was actually 12 to 15.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Well, because they have to stay, they have to get in there. They have to wait around for an hour, hour and a half, and then they actually start fighting.
Right. And a lot of these pilots were Euros. So we were going into the wee hours of the morning for the Euros. Like it was like 6:00 in the morning by the time they were able to, extract fully. So people had already gone to bed because they had work in the next day, today. And, the U.S. time zone was even going to bed because, we had work today. So it was pretty interesting. So that's why a lot of them logged off, and that's why they're now extracting. And I think this is one of the carriers that I was telling you about earlier who didn't have enough cap to jump out because he's been here for a few minutes. It went from EU time zone to China time zone, bud.
Now he's aligning, so he's not just sitting there waiting to cap up. There are
he's likely aligning to the friendly Fortizar system.
Yeah, there are 2 Fortizars in this system. There he goes, entering warp. He seems to be moving fast now. Which means, oh, was that a jump?
Nope, that was a jump. So. That was just a warp.
He warped, right? Yeah, so he didn't have the
capacity. Oh no, he jumped.
Nidhogger, let's look at these. Whoa, there's a bunch of them. It just called for everybody.
So CAD, I would always say that it's always worth resubbing, but it really depends on if what you're looking to get out of EVE at the moment. There's a lot of things in EVE that have changed lately, so there is a big fight. If you're interested in fights, then yes, it's interesting. You should resub and pick a side and join. I don't think we'd ever make the Fortizar that's in local public.
As those guys are jumping out, I'll try. Oh, take forever. All right, so this guy's jumping back in. These are Nidhoggers and a Minakawa. This is a Force Auxiliary, mostly from tests this second round. Well, I don't see any resistance, so there's a bubble out there. I think that's new, but could be defensive bubble. These Nidhoggers, you see them warping off. That guy didn't have enough cap to jump out. These guys are probably aligning or getting ready to jump out.
Nova, the reason why we wouldn't set the the Fortizar to public is because, yeah, we can put the Imperium on the block list, but that doesn't stop their alts from docking in it that we don't know about, and all their logistics groups from docking you don't know about. So it's better just to limit it to the PAPI blues, and that's it.
By the way, there were 2 keep stars destroyed in as many days in this spot. Both belonging to PAPI. Both destroyed by the Imperium. The Imperium paid a heavy price for both those, 900 billion in damages to their ships the first time, and then the repeat cost them 1.4 or 5, 1.5 basically. Those are huge, huge casualty numbers, but they won the objective. Yep. Test jumped out. Got Alpha Hounds from FedUp as Nidhogger Dreadnought coming in.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing, it doesn't look like goons are going to react to this too much.
Yeah. All right.
It's kind of hard when you're out of subcaps.
They're not out of subcaps. I think their industry guys are flexing their muscle right now.
Right, they still have Vexers.
Putting things in the cooker.
Dave Archer is going to lead the legendary Vexer fleet again. I'm sorry, guys. In case you didn't know, I am a member of PAPI, so yeah, I'm very biased. I try not to be biased to matter all too much, but you know,
Apollo is not part of TIS staff, so he's free to say whatever he wants. We try to be more objective, but he's also very knowledgeable. I mean, take his partisanship aside, very, very knowledgeable. Been playing for a long time.
High red line.
Also a very funny man, this Apollo here.
I'm just a sarcastic jerk. Jesus, Redline, calm down, buddy.
We got, Wavern came in. And the Hell as well, those are super carriers.
Ooh, the trolling of Redline in Discord right now.
Is he writing in public channel?
Yeah. He said something about Anaconda, and so of course they're calling him Dave Archer.
Do not understand any.
So there's a running joke that that
okay.
red line
I don't care.
is Dave Archer. That's all it is.
Do they sound the same or something?
I don't know. I think it's just I think it's just because they're both trash at FCing.
Jeez.
Love you, red line. Don't hate me.
Not nice. Again, Anaconda, not the name we picked. That was more of an explanation of the strategy for this campaign, and it was described by Elise. And we had a giggle about it, but then Dunk Dinkle came back on the next show and he started calling it Anaconda Coalition, and we just loved how much he owned it and said, okay, we're down to. So we started calling him Anaconda. But Villy's asked us to call him something else. I don't think he cares much about the name, but he probably just doesn't want to deal with the Anaconda name.
Well, it's always like you don't want your enemies to actually name you either. I mean, think about how hard goons have fought against World War B for the first time that we invaded them back in the north.
Yeah, they're still fighting it.
Well, yeah, well.
They're calling this World War B to confuse the issue. So they are.
This is World War B 2, you know. And I have a feeling we're going to be back-to-back champions yet again.
Back-to-back champions. Do you know what the idea is behind this invasion? Like, what are you actually planning to do here?
The idea is to remove Goonswarm as a threat. I know that there's been grandiose claims about making people quit the game and all that. I can't speak to that because that's not something that I can know about firsthand. But I know the idea is to remove goons as a threat.
Right. Remove their. That's what I think it is. Remove their influence. They can stay in the game. They're just not going to be able to run the table anymore if PAPI wins. And I got the impression, after collecting a bunch of pieces of information and thinking about it, that they may want to go to war with one another, but they can't. Because anytime any of those groups fight each other, you have the Imperium sitting back and saying, go ahead, kill each other, fools. We're just growing in power. And so,
well, no, they actually
preemptive.
They pick a side. They always have done it.
Don't they go to third party, or do they actually pick a side?
So, like, to tell somebody you're third partying would mean that you actively shoot each group, equally. But when you go in and you strictly fire on one person or one group, that's not a third party. You're acting in concert with the other group, whether you've agreed to it or not. So generally, that's what always happened. So like we'd go to war with like Winterco, in comes Imperium. We try to invade us in the north. Imperium was there, and like even Imperium in Glass to the North, who was there, test. So there's never ever one-on-one with Imperium. They've always got to have somebody else with them. But here they can't have anybody else with them because we've all united against them.
There's nobody else.
Right. He said, I took 2 days off, drop another Keepstar, please.
Yeah, I think PAPI's probably going to take a break, or they put down another one. What do we see? A couple nags coming in.
I'm not sure what this backstabbing is you're talking about, but okay.
I'll read the comment if I can find it.
Well, no, and
backstab. So yeah. I think what he means is you guys are all going to fight together until it's over, and then you're going to backstab each other.
Well, he said not true until they backstabbed the IM. I think he's trying to spell Imperium. I just don't know who backstabbed the Imperium.
There were no backstabs. There was a non-invasion pact. It was Billy gave a 2-week notice.
I think they're going back to World War B.
Oh,
when Test switched sides.
Test didn't switch sides. CO2 did.
I know.
Oh.
But it doesn't matter in this day and age. It doesn't really matter anymore because everybody's either Test or goons. That's literally all it is. Like on Facebook earlier today, I was reading posts about how the testicles lost 3 dreads in 8 QT, and I'm like, wait, what? So I looked at the dreads again, and there's purple helmeted warriors. I'm like, that's not Test. And they're like, yes, it is. I'm like, that's Wrecking Crew. They're like, no, it's Test. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's literally it's all about narratives, and
people can. Yeah, I talked to a high-level FC who said, no, this person said this, and I went and I found evidence of exactly what he said, and it wasn't accurate. The quote spoke for itself, and he's like, well, you know what he meant. So I was like, yeah, I know what he meant. Maybe I knew what he meant, but this is what he said. And so you can see now, if he said this, that people can make an inference that looks like this. So when you say it's like this, and people made inferences that it's not like that, it's like this over here, this is how narratives form. So you have to go back to the original sources, and you have to be accurate. And it's one of the hard parts about doing EVE Online justice and finding out like what actually happened, which is what was so cool about the work that Andrew Groen does. He spends a lot of time, years, researching stuff to be able to write it accurately he understands there's multiple perspectives, so he goes back to the original sources and puts those in the book. Speaking of which, he has a new book coming out this month called Empires of Eve Volume 2. That should be reaching the Kickstarter people who joined the Kickstarter. I'm going to put that in the chat now. You need to watch this video if you haven't seen it already. This is an interview with him last week that I did. It's about 2.5 hours long. It explores EVE Online, history, and some of the meta issues that we run into. Talks about some of the characters that or players that you're familiar with. So check out that. Let's see, I'll do that again. Empires of Eve. It's really an interesting interview. He's an interesting guy, and it's going to be a great book. Make sure you see that.
I don't know what's going on in there. Like now they're talking about invading test space.
Inside of the chat here?
Yeah, like they're off on their own tangent right now.
Well, we'll have to keep an eye out of I think in it is weren't they attacking Esoteria or something? I thought it was Bastion that was in Esoteria, not in it. There's backfield stuff going on. I do not think it's, I mean, it's legitimate war targets. They're essentially bombing the towns behind the army that's invading them, and that makes them legitimate. But I'm not sure how effective that is. If it's meant to distract or to make PAPI turn back and go and defend their homes, that hasn't happened. So it depends on what your measure of success is for that. I think we saw by the MER that Owasa, which is a territory of fraternity, is doing quite well economically. So if there's, we'll see this month if it looks worse for them, but last month was record breaking.
That's why they have to keep flexing those Keepstar muscles.
What do you mean?
Well, they're the ones who gave us 2 Keepstars to anchor down. Come on.
What were they theirs, or are they just the ones putting them down?
They put them down, so I'm assuming they were theirs.
No, they get handed the Keepstars by other groups as well. Because they're the ones that have to anchor it on their time zone, maybe.
Well, I mean, no, I'm not sure, so I don't know. Like, I don't know how they got their Keepstars, but
you know what? I'm not sure either. But
I'm assuming they bought it and put it up, and then had a second one, and then a third.
Well, from what I've heard, it's between them all, they have plenty of Keepstars, and that makes sense. And it might be their way of like participating. It is harder to build Keepstars though than it is to build battleships, right?
Yes and no. Yes, it's easier to build battleships because they're faster, they're smaller, they don't require as much materials. As to where Keepstar requires a lot of PI, and they still require minerals and stuff like that too. But there are like certain skills required that are pretty high up to build those things. But let's be fair, most alliances have like their industrial wings, and they've got guys that can build them with 10 to 20, 30 slots. So it's not even that big of a deal. The biggest part is actually moving the Keepstars from wherever you're building them.
Yeah. They can only fit in one ship, and that's a very vulnerable ship called the freighter. What do you think happened to the Keepstars, which sort unanchored?
He probably sold them.
Which ones did he unanchor?
Yeah, I don't think they unanchored any. I think they lost them all.
Yeah, he unanchored Faction Fortizars, not Keepstars, that I'm aware of. And he gave like, I don't know, some 20 of them to Goonswarm, which is interesting because a lot of Faction Fortizars have been dying in Aquarius. And you would have
even in Fountain.
Yeah, you would have thought that those would have been picked up. You know, if you're going to abandon territory, take the Fortizars with you, those Faction Fortizars. Maybe they got stuck because once a Fortizar is shot or reinforced, it can't be moved.
Well, I could tell you when we were invading Fountain, the Bastion and Infensis, whatever they're however you pronounce their name, them bothered on anchor theirs. We didn't even aggress the first keep star died.
You bugged out there as a Nyx, by the way, it's landed.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, say it again.
So we didn't even aggress the most of the Bastion ones and the Infensis ones. Like they just left them to die.
Well, it's possible they couldn't move them, but it was curious because those things, they're useful. So don't leave them there. Take them.
Well, I also know a few of them were stolen by Hard Knocks and some other wormhole groups.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, it was actually pretty amazing. Like they would unanchor and all of a sudden a Hard Knocks, or I forget, I think it was Hard Knocks, would decloak a Roracle right on top of it, scoop it and leave. And then like as they're jumping out, in comes the freighter to pick up the thing. They're like, where'd it go?
oh, yikes. Well, the Faction Fortizar can fit in a smaller ship. You don't have to use the freighter for that.
Right. Well, whatever they were using to pick it up, I'm just calling it out. So I just want to put out there that I'm want to buy Delve Titans for 20 bill a piece. Go ahead and set contracts to Apollo 429.
Well, that's not going to happen. They need those to fight this war.
Fight what war? They didn't use Titans at all.
No, but they were ready. And Titans aren't something you use. It's something you kind of hold over your enemy's head.
We used ours yesterday.
That's true. Some of them, you had a total of 90 jumped in? Right around 90, 100 maybe? That's a lot.
So there's a difference between not caring about structures that you leave down and leaving structures down because you know you're hoping that the hostiles burn out before they can get through all of your structures. So there is a difference. Please know that to the guy in chat.
I don't know. From what I understand, they're not after the keep stars directly. Like the war will be over before the keep stars start going down.
They were talking about the faction forts and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Why would I jump into 1DQ? We were jumping into FWST. I don't know. Just some of the questions don't make sense, but it's fine.
Well, the thing is, for people who are listening to this or watching it later, they don't see that chat. They don't know what's going on. So
no, he's been here a while. He's just trying to troll. It's fine.
I know, but the audience doesn't. So you have to ask the question out loud, and then you get to answer it. That's usually how it works.
Okay. I'll try.
I'll ask it. Just tell me who you're talking to. I don't think Ron is a crier. Look, INN was celebrating pretty well. I heard the funniest phrase, and this isn't a criticism of INN, but I just love this phrase. They're spinning so fast the wheels are coming off. I just love that.
Yeah.
I love that visual. But they were having a great time celebrating over there. I think it was probably really festive. So they had a stream going that was fun for them. And I know Ron, and he's definitely not a crier. So
well, see, it goes down to the cultural differences here. Like, in EV, there's different cultures, and the culture of Imperium is they don't care about ISK. Then PAPI forces, they care about ISK. It shows that they're winning, which it is what it is. So like, goons were celebrating. They killed their objective, which was killing the Keepstar. They did it at any cost, which was fine. And they're happy about it. Pappy's happy that we just massacred 1.5 trillion ISK on this for the second day in a row, bringing the total. It was like 2.4 trillion for the entirety. And we decimated, like, it was a total of like 7,500 ships between the 2 days, which, that's a pretty big feat, especially since we didn't lose much in this. So like, we're happy about that. Yeah. Okay. We lost 2 keep stars. Oh, well, as Billy said, we have more. It's not a big deal. And we'll happily trade them all, for more of these fights. But it was a really good effort on Goon's side, especially not giving up. That one Naglfar, hats off to him. That one Naglfar that paused the Keep Star when it was going. If he didn't pause it, that was it. It was gone. And that's
Wha-
that guy. That guy deserves you guys. That guy deserves a Ragnarok. You guys better give him a rag. Because if you don't, I'll recruit him and give him a rag myself.
Well, that's like the tomb of the unknown soldier for us, like the unknown nag pilot, because we didn't catch his name. However, we don't know if it was the dreads. We assumed it was because there was 4 dreads on the field when the damage stopped, and then it picked up again. But there were, I forget, a small subcap fleet led by Mike Flood, who said overheat your guns on the Keep Star. That might have been the saving moment. It could have been bombers that were bombing like crazy, multiple bombing FCs. We don't know who saved that effort, but somebody did. Some group did.
I think Mike was running rocks last night.
Yeah. Yeah, early on, but he might have switched up. But yeah. Whatever happened, that moment was really tense, and somebody picked up the ball and kept it going. All right, looks like this is over here as the Munin fleets are taking off. I think in tie-dye too. Oops.
Looks like PAPI forces are coming home.
Yeah, we're still at 17%. That is, what's this guy doing? Uh-oh, he's a hauler. He's
out there
hauler.
looting stuff. Oh, look what's warping in.
He's a hauler. What are you doing?
Uh-oh.
This isn't your grid.
That interceptor over there is going to love you.
There's a little fight going on over here between a Hecate and a Prospect. That's In It versus Brave. Let's see what happens here.
This is what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. The little fights right here.
This Crusader is headed to that Requiem. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen here. Let's take a look at this guy.
I wonder if he was like trying to bring fuel or something to the structure. Oh, so one thing that's worth noting, he probably didn't realize the structure wasn't anchored, because once you start anchoring a structure, if you right click in space, it shows as a structure you can warp to. So he probably just assumed it was online and warped to it. Little did he know he was going to meet his end right here.
Oh, yeah. Oh. They got him, I think.
Oh, I don't see the animation yet. But he's definitely in range, and he's definitely not going to warp fast enough. Zoom back or look back at him because he's going to warp.
Where is he?
If you still have him selected, yeah.
Yeah, they caught him. He's gone. This guy accidentally logged in at the wrong time. Hey, Sir Creel. Sorry you got webbed. Yeah,
Barry the effing legend. That's right.
Crawley the King has got him, and now here comes some help, so they'll take him out.
Want to warp over there in my Tengu real quick, see if I can't get a volley on
it. Yeah, this guy has no offensive weapons, so he's in trouble. However, somebody could bail him out. This is just one ship.
That Stiletto could come over and chase the Crusader away.
Yeah, he might get some help. What are you doing over here, Sveeple? One Bastion, jump in there, help your friend. I can't tell how damaged that guy is, but he's webbed and being pummeled.
Well, that interceptor is only going to do about like maybe 120, 130 DPS. And if this Iteron Mark V has any type of tank fit, it's going to take this Crusader like a while to burn through him. But tie-dye is letting up pretty heavily.
Yeah, it's starting to go. I think people jumped out. Let's look at local.
Pappy's coming home.
Oh, they're still at nearly 2,000, so. Oh, yeah, he's gone. You can see him lighting up now. Got him. Poor guy.
F's in chat, guys. F's in chat for the poor Iteron Mark V.
Thanks for the action there. Looks like he got a little help here at the end. This Malediction came in to help out this Crusader, but don't know if he applied damage. It probably would have been hard to save him. This is tie-dye after all. That guy's warping out. Well, super bad timing for that Iteron. Oh, somebody else coming in here.
Is that Mike Flood in the Discord channel?
Probably. He's around. This is a rookie ship. They call it something else now.
The Ibis Corvette.
Corvette, yeah.
Not to be confused with Star Wars.
Yeah. I think of that too when I hear it. This I'm totally zoomed out.
I'm being told that it just fed an entire hack fleet on the test Fortizar.
Oh, what system? This one?
I do believe. I'm going to look it up right now for battle report.
It's a pacifier. That's a bomber. Can't tether here, man. Thing's not ready for you. Let's see if he gets picked off by an interceptor. Come on, heads up interceptors, any? No, he's got some friends. It's another jackdaw. These might have been coming in to help out that Iteron. They got killed, but they were late because of tie-dye. Who knows? Well, so now this becomes a little playground for people who want to do combat, as you have ships from both sides kind of coming in and skirmishing. The extraction's over, looked successful, controlled the grid, cleared the bubbles. Capitals were able to jump back in and then exit or warp to a friendly Fortizar in system. Yes, there are 2 Fortizars. One was actually put up yesterday during the battle. 2 Fortizars, 4 PAPI in this system alone. That looks like, well, there's another hauler, Galenti hauler. This guy might be in trouble. Let's see if they pick him off. The grid is not safe for you either.
So it is 100% confirmed that that Init just fed an entire Zealot fleet on the Fortizar, belonging to Pandemic Horde.
What is it?
The battle report's linked in chat, but it was a battle between PAPI and Imperium. PAPI outnumbered Imperium by about 400 pilots. Don't know what the engagement was started over, but yeah, they definitely murked a bunch of those zealots.
I wonder if that's what drove them off.
That's a lot of zealots.
They ate up that fleet. Who's F seeing that? Let's see.
Well, our friendly neighborhood Mike Flood is there in a monitor.
Oh, Panda was there too. Well, we'll see. John Hartley. Oh, okay. So it was a few guys.
Yeah, Alice was there. Alice, Ferret.
This guy he's now tackled by this. Well, he's already reduced to exploding, so he'll go. So 1 hauler each. Hecate's gonna swoop in for the loot. And the salvage. No, that's not salvage. Waste no bones. Wow, there's a
So looking at the summary, it looks like Init lost 74 zealots and almost all of its Logi, which was, where'd it go? 21 guardians. Oof.
It's not much, or it's not bad for we're losing the idea of like scale, but
Oh no, for scale, but I mean, it's still that's like 20 bill
yeah,
worth of zealots just gone.
well, yeah,
They fought back though. I mean, like, so the score right now is 34 bill lost for PAPI, 52 bill lost for Imperium, which is to be expected when you're outnumbered by 400 pilots.
what's this test stiletto doing? Test versus lawn. Yeah, so that's pretty good. We missed. We saw a lot of comment earlier, but we were here at the end of it.
To answer the question, no, PAPI did not lose. They've held the grid and forced them off. It is worth mentioning though that yes, Pando lost his monitor, but so did Killa B. It's always worth mentioning Killa B dying. I'm just saying.
All right, Apollo.
What? Killa's on my side.
I know. Another test stiletto came in. These guys are roaming around. Again, this becomes a little skirmishing field, but the action is over here. The ships were extracted. That was the goal.
I'm not sure what I'm spinning. I'm literally reading the battle report, but okay.
I mean,
Extraction's good. Basically, everybody that we know was logged out that has responded to our pings has extracted. So, I mean, I'm sure there's a few that haven't responded. They'll probably log in later and die. I'm sure, but
all right. Well, that's it. There's a little skirmishing going on, but the objective completed by PAPI was to extract their stranded supers. And they did. That Astra House may catch other stragglers that weren't able to log back in, if there are any others. Right now, he's just seeing a little bit of skirmishing. We'll see what happens there. Yeah, Billy's around.
yeah, he's active in the Discord chat.
Oh boy, brawling all morning about who won this, who won that. I thought though the thread was really good in Reddit for once, where
I actually didn't see the thread.
yeah, it was like, hey, it was a great fight all around. I think Billy's in there. I think he's the one that started it, and the servers did great. Nice to see the servers get some respect. Okay,
Oh no,
go ahead.
no problem at all, Captain. I just didn't know what I was spinning, and if I was spinning, I'm sorry. I was just reading the battle report. That's all.
Oh, I said pacifier earlier. Heck, why do these things disappear? About a range?
I think ultimately CCP won the fight because their nodes didn't die. They're going to have plenty of showcasing on this full fight that we had.
6,500.
And yeah, and we broke the world record fight. So
Yeah.
that's very noteworthy. If they don't make a video about this, or at least like a little clip on maybe the dev diaries or whatever they usually do these days, that'd be a shame.
Right. All right. Well, I got to wrap it up and take some time for real life. Thank you guys for watching again. Paula, thanks for stopping in. You biased partisan, you.
You biased son of a
Yeah, I was
dog.
gonna say some bitch is what That's what Ron says all the time.
Some itch. Oh my god.
he says it his way, which works. I can't copy him. But yeah.
Thanks. All right, well, thanks for letting me pop in.
That's good. Thanks for giving us some information on what's going on. And thank you all for watching. I'll see if I can get you to somewhere else that might be interesting. And we will see you later today on the news portion of TIS.
What's that news thing that goes out to the news tonight from last week or something like that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, this week, last week, this week, or last week tonight, something like that.
Yeah.
Hey guys, watch Hateless. This guy is the Mozart of running missions. Check him out. There's nobody that works like this guy works. He's unbelievable. John Oliver, last week tonight or something.
Last week tonight, correct.
Yeah. All right, guys, you're going to get a big kick out of Hateless. Enjoy this. It's amazing.
Later, guys.